There are years when the holidays arrive and you feel nothing but a quiet urge to disappear. And that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. There's a specific psychology to holiday absence, to the pull towards solitude when everyone else is gathering, to the relief you feel when plans fall through, to the guilt that follows you like a shadow when you choose silence over celebration. And most people who experience it think they're the only ones. They're not. You're not. This isn't about hating joy or rejecting connection. It's about something deeper, something that lives in the space between who you are and who the holidays ask you to be. But here's the question most people never ask themselves. What if your absence isn't avoidance at all? What if it's protection? We'll come back to that. But first, let me show you what's really happening beneath the surface. You walk into a room full of people, music, decorations, conversations overlapping like waves, and within minutes, your nervous system starts sending quiet alarms. It's not anxiety exactly. It's more like your brain is trying to process 50 inputs at once, and it can't keep up. People like you have a lower threshold for sensory stimulation. It's not weakness, it's wiring. You notice more, absorb more, feel more. And during the holidays, when everything's louder, brighter, more performative, your system reaches capacity faster than others realize. You're at a family dinner. Everyone's talking at once. Someone asks you a question, but you can't answer right away because you're still processing 3 other conversations happening around you. They think you're distracted. You feel like you're drowning in sound. This doesn't mean you don't love people. It means your brain needs space to process connection without interference. There's a specific discomfort that comes from being told when to feel joy. The holidays don't ask if you're ready. They arrive with expectations already attached. Be grateful, be festive, be present, smile more. And when you can't manufacture that feeling on command, you start to feel like you're failing at being human. But authentic emotion doesn't work on a calendar. You can't force yourself into joy any more than you can force yourself to sleep. The pressure to perform happiness often creates the opposite. A quiet resentment, a feeling of being misunderstood, a pull toward isolation. Someone asks, "Aren't you excited for Christmas?" And you freeze. Because the honest answer is no, not because you hate Christmas, but because excitement isn't something you feel right now. And saying that out loud feels like admitting you're defective. So you smile, you nod, and inside you feel further away from everyone in the room. The holidays require a specific kind of social performance. You're expected to show up as a version of yourself that fits the family narrative, the responsible one, the funny one, the quiet one, the successful one. You're supposed to play your role without breaking character. And if you've spent years managing other people's expectations of who you should be, the holidays feel like a marathon of masking. You're not antisocial, you're exhausted from being on, from translating your inner world into something palatable, from swallowing corrections you'd like to make because it's easier to stay silent, from pretending you're fine when you're not because honesty would derail the entire evening. You start to notice when your presence is conditional, when you're welcomed only as long as you don't disrupt the emotional script, and after years of that, absence begins to feel like the only honest choice. The holidays also magnify absence. If you've lost someone, if a relationship ended, if your family fractured, if your life looks nothing like it used to, the season becomes a museum of everything that's gone. Every tradition is a reminder. Every gathering has a missing chair. Every song pulls you backward into a version of yourself that no longer exists. You're sitting at the table and someone laughs about a memory from 10 years ago. Suddenly you're back there, before the divorce, before the distance, before everything changed. And you realize you're not sitting with these people. You're sitting next to them, alone in your own timeline. This isn't about being unable to move on. It's about being unable to pretend the past doesn't live in your body. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is not to force yourself into spaces that ask you to ignore what's true. You value depth, quiet, meaning, intentionality. The holidays often value volume, consumption, obligation, tradition for tradition's sake. When your internal values don't match the external ritual, participation starts to feel like a betrayal of self. You're asked to celebrate connection through activities that feel disconnecting. You're asked to show love through spending. You're asked to be present in ways that make you feel absent from yourself. Everyone's opening gifts, and you feel nothing. Not because you're ungrateful, but because the exchange feels transactional. You'd rather have one honest conversation than 10 wrapped boxes, but saying that out loud would hurt people, so you participate quietly, feeling more alone than if you'd stayed home. This looks like withdrawal. But it's often self-protection in disguise. There's a difference between tradition and performance. Tradition feels rooted, chosen, alive. Performance feels scripted, obligatory, empty. When rituals no longer carry meaning for you, when they feel like reenactments of someone else's values, your body resists. You're not rejecting connection, you're rejecting hollow connection. You're protecting the part of you that knows the difference between going through motions and being genuinely moved. You feel things deeply, even when you stay quiet, and when a ritual stops resonating, you can't fake your way through it. You feel the gap between what's happening and what's real, and it makes you want to leave. The holidays also demand invisible labour, managing other people's emotions, smoothing tension, anticipating needs, holding space for everyone's unspoken stress. If you're someone who naturally carries emotional weight for others, the season becomes a second job you never applied for. You notice when someone's uncomfortable. You adjust, you redirect, you absorb. By the end of the night, you've spent more energy managing the room's emotional climate than experiencing your own. Your mum is tense, your sibling is withdrawn, someone makes a passive-aggressive comment. Without thinking, you step in. Not because anyone asked, but because your body feels the instability and tries to fix it. That's not people-pleasing. That's deep attunement. And attunement without boundaries is exhausting. So when you choose absence, you're not abandoning people. You're stopping the cycle of depletion. Sometimes you pull away because you're becoming someone new, and the old rituals no longer fit. Your life has changed. Your beliefs have changed. Your priorities have changed. And the holidays ask you to show up as the person you used to be, but you're not that person anymore, and pretending to be is one of the loneliest experiences there is. Growth often requires withdrawal. You can't become who you're meant to be while constantly performing who you were. Sometimes, the most honest thing you can do is step back and let the old version dissolve without an audience. So understand this: your absence during the holidays, your pull towards solitude, your resistance to performance, your need for quiet, isn't a flaw. It isn't coldness. It isn't failure. It's self-preservation. It's boundaries. It's honouring what's true for you, even when it disappoints others. You're not broken because you don't feel what you're supposed to feel. You're not selfish because you choose rest over ritual. You're not wrong because you'd rather be alone than perform connection you don't feel. You're just awake. And sometimes, being awake means stepping away from the noise so you can hear yourself again. If you've ever felt guilty for wanting to skip the holidays, for needing space when everyone else is gathering, for choosing solitude over celebration, listen carefully. You're not avoiding life. You're protecting your relationship with yourself. And that's one of the most mature, courageous things a person can do. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that cost you your peace. You're allowed to be absent. You're allowed to be quiet. You're allowed to honour what's real over what's expected. And the people who truly love you will understand, or they'll learn to. You're not alone in this. You're just rare.